Nice.
Love it.
Indy 500 champion.
Oh, yeah.
Never get tired of hearing that, do you now?
No, I just want to add like 2-time Indy, 3-time.
There you go. 5-9.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
So, what's on your mind?
Go ahead. Just start asking questions. I guess I'm
Doing it for going back as the defending winner. You know, a lot of people always say that you walk in the gasoline alley a different person.
Yeah.
What do you expect from that?
I actually feel like you will just be a more confident, happy person there. It's just, to me, no question. That's how I've been, because I achieved something that I set out to achieve a long time ago. And there's been a lot of frustration and disappointments along the way to trying to achieve that. So it's just, yeah, a great feeling to turn up there without that massive pressure on your shoulders, having won a 500.
Was that something you think you really felt going in each year? I mean,
Yes,
was it noticeable?
it actually got worse. Like, I would say 2018 was the worst. Like, I was kind of went into the month of May like disappointed in my career, like very disappointed. Because I won so many races and everything. I'm like, it doesn't matter. You gotta. Obviously that does matter, but it just felt like to me like I was kind of like felt like a disappointment. So yeah, it was definitely a massive weight off my shoulders.
So how does that lack of pressure change maybe how you manage a race weekend now, since you don't have that on you?
Yeah, I find like I'm more energetic, more focused than I've been in a number of years, fitness-wise, everything-wise. I'm not saying that's from the 500. I think it's just like I've matured and kind of very happy in my life and realize that life is super short, so you have to enjoy it and you have to go for it.
So it seems strange that you're not going to another Borg Warner function right now.
Yeah, right. I thought this was another one. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's great. The amount of attention that you receive after you've won, like all the different events that you get to do that remind you that you're a 500 champion. So I've enjoyed every moment of it. I have not complained at all about having to do those events, and I will happily do them again next year.
You know, you said last year that you would have been happy to DNF all other races if you could win in the 500, but going forward this year, are you looking forward to probably not having the same, I mean, I don't know if it's possible to have the same bad luck that you had last year at the
Yeah, we definitely had a bad run. When I think about actual pace performance and qualifying performance, like, it should have been a fantastic year championship-wise, so it was a disappointment to turn up to the last race, not a legitimate contender. So you're right, like it all goes in cycles. You have your good and bad runs, and looking for a good solid championship year. And I don't mean the top 3 finish, I mean we need to be a legitimate contender by the end. Like, we need to win a championship, and the 500 in the same year would be phenomenal. But both those, it's not at a point where top 3 is great. It's at a point where you need to win another championship, and you need to be a multiple 500 winner.
Is it any reassurance that it took 5 years for Scott to win his second IndyCar championship, and then another 5 years for him to win his third? This is your, this is going to be your 5th year.
Yeah.
You know, you could still rack up 3 or 4 titles before you retire.
You could, yeah, and obviously, I feel like I have not slowed down. I've only got quicker, and now I have a lot of experience. So I feel like I'm in the best form of my life, and so for me, there's no reason and no excuse really to not be a legitimate contender.
We've been asking a lot of guys in here when they come in, you know, what do you got to do to get that extra whatever to get to championship level? For you, is it just kind of maintaining what you have been doing the last couple of years? Because if you do avoid those DNFs, you're probably right in the thick of that hunt.
Simply, like when I think about last year, if I didn't aquaplane in the wet at Barber.
Right.
I didn't have an engine failure at Road America, or I didn't have a gearbox failure. Like, eliminate just 2 of those,
Yeah.
and you're right there in the championship. So, yes, just things that were totally out of my control.
Yeah.
And then you can add like a couple of mistakes of my own in there, like St. Pete, and then there's the radio issue we had in Texas. Just like amazing the amount of points that were let go with things that were kind of out of your control. Yeah. I mean, that stuff swings both ways. I mean, that's why you cheer so hard when you have a thing flow your way like a yellow that flows just perfectly. It's like the amount of times it's gone the other way, I'll take it every time. I don't care what anyone says. Just give me lucky wins.
So we've heard a variety of ways of preparing for COTA. What have you done?
I've been on the simulator. Obviously, I've tested here before. It's just a phenomenal track, and everyone's super excited. I haven't spoke to a single driver that wasn't excited that we're racing here, so can't wait to get on the track tomorrow. Can't wait. Hopefully the weather's good.
Tomorrow's
Even
good.
if it's wet, I'm going.
Tomorrow's good and dry. 62.
Yeah, that's cool.
What simulator were you on?
Chevy simulator. Yeah, got Chevy has the majority of the tracks, so we all do. All the Chevy drivers do work on it.
And it's been recalibrated from when you tested here with the manufacturer.
It has not. Yeah, no. Well, not the car obviously has, but the track is obviously all tracks lose a bit of grip and degrade.
Yeah.
Brings them character basically, in a glass smooth track. Formula One guys probably don't think that, but IndyCar, and we race at some of these like race at Detroit and Toronto. Makes everything seem awesome, which is great. I mean, it's just a part of IndyCar racing, right?
I told some of the other guys too that two of the sections of the track were just resurfaced in the past 2 weeks.
Oh wow! Okay, you actually resurfaced. Yeah, I saw some grinding there.
And my understanding is they were going to appraise resurfacing it before this race, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, totally.
No,
No.
just those surfaces.
Oh, just
the 910 and the 18 bumps.
The ground areas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it bumpy? It's not that. Sure, it's not that.
Well,
Was it
I
just
don't want to
because-
get all into the history and detail of this, but there were some waves coming up. Quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Is that because it was built very quickly, or?
No, they actually dug a bunch of dirt out. They brought in new dirt, but it's the G forces that were still
Yeah,
shoving the dirt,
when you
making
break.
the waves.
I think it happens in every track. Same deal. Like when you just break over and over and over again, just start pushing it down. Nothing different there.
Do you think it gives a significant advantage at all to the Chevy drivers versus the Honda drivers that you guys have this track in the simulator? One of the previous drivers said that they didn't have a chance to get on the simulator.
I'm sure Honda has it on their simulator,
Or,
and I'm sure those drivers have the chance to get on there. But honestly, over 2 days of testing, it just doesn't matter. Like the simulator is never as good as being on the track. So, you know, like you get 2 days of testing. You know, even one session is going to be better than a day of simulator sessions. Yeah.
At one time or another over the last 10, 15 years, either you or Scott Dixon have kind of been the benchmark. But for whatever reason, we've never really seen that head-to-head battle.
Ah.
I mean, how much do you crave an opportunity like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I dream of, has been actually able to fight him in the last few races for a championship, and that hasn't happened, which just blows me away. Over the last, well, it's almost been 10 years. Yeah, it has, 10 years of racing him. So honestly, I just hope I'm not even fighting and I'll win the championship. Who cares about fighting? Yeah. I'm not craving that, just get out of here. Just let me win it. Yeah.
Your thought?
So,
You wanna-
Joseph and Simon were talking about, how good the test was at Sebring last December.
Yes.
P3. Do you expect to find as much benefit as they did in terms of having a more stable rear end to the car and just having more confidence in it, or did you just not have a problem with that anyway?
I mean, everyone, deals differently with certain handling characteristics, and yes, the car is quite unstable on entry. It's just the nature of this car because it has such a pitch sensitive, but a very big floor on it. So when you brake, the ride height comes up, and you lose a bunch of that grip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't mind that. Like, yeah, I'm the same. Like, of course, you want it solid, and that kind of helps you add some more front for the mid-off understeer you get with this car. But yeah, it's hard for me to tell. Like, Sebring's a tough track, and I was going to be surprised if we saw the game we got there like at some of these road courses. Sebring's more like a street course. I feel like at the street courses we were lacking, and I feel like we found something that's
Right.
helped us significantly realize we were quite out of the window. And yeah, so I think that'll bring us up to speed there. All of us, I think
Yeah.
it will just simply collectively help us all. Maybe it will help us. Simon likes a very solid rear end, probably more so than Joseph and myself, but I think it'll just, all of us will benefit.
How much credit to your career do you give David?
Yeah, I mean, basically it just goes hand in hand, right? I mean, you work with a guy for 10 years, you obviously have a very strong communication. He knows exactly what I mean, he knows my language. Everyone has kind of a different language. He knows what I need when I say this is what I want from the car, it feels like this. Like he's just straight on it. And we bounce off each other a lot with ideas. So I couldn't even tell you, I don't know what it is to work with someone else, but as a couple, sounds weird. As a combination, we're great. We just know each other so well. And sometimes, getting another engineer is actually a good thing. You learn. Everyone has a different style, but I'm happy to finish my career out with him. We're just so well connected.
Any thoughts on Surfer's Paradise?
My thought is I really hope it happens, and I think it's got its best potential that it's had in a long time. And I think the public really want to see IndyCar back there. I mean, I think once IndyCar went away, V8's, I think not just V8 Supercar, but they realised how much IndyCar brought to the event. I think for me both V8 and IndyCar make it a spectacular event. But yes, it has a better chance than it's ever had. I'm not holding my breath. You just never know with this stuff. It's got to go. It's a complicated process, and there's a lot of different factions that all have to kind of agree and get in line. But it's been very positive so far. That's a politician's answer right there.
As a little bit of a outsider to American racing from the way things began, you were part of the Rogers induction a couple of weeks ago, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and what did those names mean to you? And now for Roger to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, all the names up there, and actually to hear the story behind them, because I'm not that well versed on the history of NASCAR. It was really interesting to hear all their stories of those people who were inducted.
I mean, did you know much about Davey Allison?
No, I did not, and it made me want to go study up Davey Allison and see about his career. It sounded like he was a really good guy and a great driver. Obviously, a really sad thing that happened for that family. So I actually enjoyed hearing all the stories about Davey Allison,
Kulwicki.
Oh, yeah, Kulwicki. Two people I didn't know I didn't know their history, so absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed it.
And then a name you probably were familiar with,
Yeah.
Gordon.
Yes.
What was it like?
And it was cool to see Jeff Gordon, which I kind of knew his history. It was kind of cool to see the footage and some interviews with him when he was literally just starting, saying what he
Yeah.
wanted to achieve, which he went over and above. Yeah, it was all absolute legends of the sport that you got to witness, which as the older you get, the more appreciation you have for the history of anything, but especially your own sport. You know, the history of Indianapolis, the history of IndyCar, the history of NASCAR, and just motorsport in general in the States is something I'm very interested in.
And the fact that Rogers played a key role in both.
Yeah, yes, Roger just played a key role in, just in general, it just goes hand in hand, motorsport in the North America and Roger Penske. So yeah, very fitting that has been inducted, which of course, that should go without saying, he was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Is there an IndyCar Hall of Fame?
Is there
Yeah.
either?
My colleague here ready to depart is Indy 500 centric, and he wanted me to ask you about, you going into the speedway and looking up and seeing that banner every time, and what goes through your mind, and just, I imagine every time you go into Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you're gonna be able to relive that moment when you look up there.
Yeah, anytime you're reminded of it, it's just joy, just happiness and joy and thorough satisfaction. Just very satisfying feeling, if that's an emotion.
Pretty big banner too,
Contentment.
pretty big banner.
But you always set another goal. Yeah, big banner, yeah.
But
Need to get my brother to take a picture of that one too. Did you see that one? Like he took a picture of it last year.
All right, with that, we'll let it go.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Will.